if I didn't take a chance at that point in time, I was not going to do it. Once the baby arrived and I said, okay, now I have 3 miles, well, another extra mile to feed, so 5 miles to feed, I knew that it would have been a little bit more comfortable and safe for me to stay in that environment. So
this is the How to Quit Working Show. Jeff Steinman believes entrepreneurship is the only true path to freedom. That's why he created the How to Quit Working Show, where you'll hear stories, insights, and inspiration from lifestyle fanatics who left their soul-sucking 9-to-5 job forever. Now, here's your host, author, entrepreneur, and ultimate lifestyle fanatic, Jeff Steinman.
Hello and welcome to the How to Quit Working Show. Today we're going to talk to Maurice Williams. He is the founder of Move Well Fitness. In February, we are profiling African American entrepreneurs in honor of Black History Month, and I like to call it Black Entrepreneur Month here on the How to Quit Working Show. Been talking to a lot of really amazing entrepreneurs as always. But before we get into the conversation with Maurice, which is it's an amazing interview with a guy who set his sights on what he wanted, figured out what he needed to do to get there, and did it. So it's going to be a great one. Don't miss this interview. But before we do jump into that, I want to remind you that we are now doing a webinar about quitting your job. It's all about the things that you need to know and how do you make sure that you will indeed be successful when you quit your job and start your business. You can get more information about that. Oh, and register, of course, at howtoquitworking.com/webinar. Again, that's howtoquitworking.com/webinar. Go over there and get all the details and get registered for the webinar, and I will see you live on the webinar. Now, let's talk to Maurice Williams. Maurice, welcome to the How to Quit Working Show.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So glad to have you here. You have started a personal training business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. It is called Move Well Fitness. We are based out of Bethesda, Maryland. Our slogan is Your Body, Your Move. We truly believe in each individual that we work with is unique. They have their own good and bad things that come with it, so to speak. So we make sure that when we do work with individuals and small groups, that we cater, the exercises to their particular needs and to their particular wants. We've been in business since 2009, part-time, and full-time just a year. We started full-time in 2014.
Excellent. Well, sounds like a really cool business. Tell us a little bit about what were you doing before you started Move Well Fitness?
Sure. I've pretty much always been involved in personal training.
Okay.
I actually went to my 2 degrees are in exercise science. One's in exercise science, one's in exercise physiology. So this is all I've really known. I did 4 years of real estate, but that was only because a client of mine thought I had a great personality and actually paid for my classes. So I did that for 4 years in addition to personal training. So this is all I've really known. This is exactly, I believe, what I was meant to do. And I started off working, as most trainers do, you work in a large facility, a large health club setting. I've done a different number of small personal training studios in the Washington, D.C. area. And then in 2012 decided, I have this entrepreneurial bug or itch, and started doing some research on it and realized that, it's time for me to break off on my own.
Why?
Well, a couple reasons. Number one, I started really paying more attention to the number of hours I was spending working and the money that I was getting for that. Not that the money was not good, certainly was, but it just didn't add up compared to the time, the effort, and the education that I was putting into just growing my own knowledge and working with my clients. I also kind of outgrew the corporate setting in terms of rules and regulations. I'm a big fan of that. I don't have any problem with following rules and regulations, but I kind of felt as if most of the rules were just so easy for me to follow, but so difficult for other people to follow. And it would be frustrating to work with individuals who just couldn't just basically do their job. And then you just you kind of outgrow that environment. There was no way for me to go up. If I wanted to move up the corporate ladder, that would have been more of a management position, and I had already been there, done that, and decided that the only way I would be in that position again is if it was my own. So that left me to just looking into being an entrepreneur and running, quote unquote, running my own business. I already had some clients on the outside anyway, just in terms of going to people's homes, and I really liked doing that. So decided to just pursue that full time.
Excellent. Talk a little bit more about what you were saying about how you didn't feel like the money that you were making was good, but you didn't feel like it was, I guess, commensurate to your education and the value that you were really providing.
Sure. So I'm not bragging about myself, but...
And it's okay if you do.
In the personal training industry, it's kind of rare or unique for an individual to actually have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree in exercise science.
Okay.
Most people who are trainers, or at least in this area, are coming from a second career, or coming from another career in personal training as their second career. So they were on the same playing field as me, which it was fine as long as the training and the professionalism was equal, but it wasn't. So I found that maybe it wasn't as fair as I thought it would be, and the only way for me to make more money meant to work more. And I had gotten married in 2004, had our first kid in 2005, our second kid in 2007, and then that's when I started really paying a little bit more attention to the money. And every time I would, pull out my little spreadsheet and plug the numbers in, I just didn't like what I was seeing. I was content, but didn't like what I was seeing. So eventually in 2012, I said, you know what, this is it. I believe I can do this on my own, and that's when I decided to pursue it full time.
One of the interesting things that you said, Maurice, was if you wanted, before you started your business, if you wanted to make more money, you had to work more hours. You had to take on more clients. You had to do more sessions. How is that different now that you have your own business?
Sure. Well, the business I'm not quite there yet because it's just me, but sure. I'm in a better position where I can make it scalable. So my goal is to eventually, me personally, cut down on my training, hire trainers who will be able to work for me. And then that will allow me to be more of the face of the business. Because I feel, and I know that I offer such a unique product, my price point's a little bit higher, which means I don't have to train as many people in the gym that I did when I worked for the gym for 10 years. So on average, my 10 years in working in the gym, I probably trained 6 to 8 clients a day. And since I left the gym, I'm averaging about 3 to 4 clients a day, maybe 5 on a busy day. Whereas in the past, a busy day would have been sometimes 10 people.
Wow. So you're actually doing less work and making more money per hour or per week or however you charge. So you're also getting to offer a service that is not only different, but something that you're able to charge more for, and I'm guessing more in line with what you truly believe is right and good for the client. Is that right?
That's correct. That is correct. So I can do just a little bit more than perhaps I could in the gym. More or less from an educational standpoint. I can kind of give my own move well personal opinions, whereas in the gym, maybe I was not necessarily allowed to do that because the gym had their standards. So if it had something to do with nutrition, maybe I can only go but so far. But now that I have Move Well Fitness and I have nutritional background, I can actually go just a little bit further. It's just one example of many. Yeah,
you still have standards, but now they're the standards that you decided.
Exactly. So I've set my own standards just like they did.
Excellent. Tell us about how you made that transition from working for somebody else to having your own fitness business, because that's one of the things that just really is scary for folks, right? Because there's the time issue, there's the money issue, all that kind of stuff. Talk a little bit about how that worked for you.
Sure. It's still scary. by the way.
There's no getting over that.
I have 3 kids now, which, by the way, once I found out, that was even extra motivation for me to go off on my own once we found out we were having our 3rd child in 2013. So
okay.
That put the stamp on the paper saying, this date, you're definitely doing it.
Well, now, wait a minute. That's interesting, because I think a lot of folks approach entrepreneurship from, when it comes to kids, they look at having kids and they say, well, no, the kids are the reason why I need to keep working a safe and secure job. But you said completely the opposite.
Yes, because I knew if I didn't take a chance at that point in time, I was not going to do it. Once the baby arrived and I said, okay, now I have 3 miles, well, another extra mouth to feed, so 5 miles to feed, I knew that it would have been a little bit more comfortable and safe for me to stay in that environment. So I never want to put myself in a position to where I at least didn't try. I went into it with the plan B. Plan B was to go back to the gym because the gym where I left, I had a good relationship with them, and there are other gyms in the area where I know I could eventually or potentially go back. Okay. So that was plan B. But I had put so many things in place for plan A to work that I felt confident that it would work. And the support of my wife, she fully supported me, so that definitely helped, and there was no way I could do it without her support, 100% support. So, yeah.
Awesome. So the kids for you were a motivation to go out and do what you wanted to do so that you could create an amazing life, not only for yourself, but for your kids and your wife as well.
Exactly.
So they were not an excuse to keep working for somebody else, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. She felt as you do when you come home to your spouse, you kind of tell her how your day is, and she just kind of got tired of me coming home frustrated and upset, and, knowing that I could do better, knowing that I had the knowledge and the experience to go off on my own. So she fully supported it, and she's happy that I made a decision. So, but I wanted to answer your question. About how I was able to go about doing it. I think that's what you asked me.
Yes, I did. And then I got excited about something else. We went off down a rabbit hole. But go ahead.
That's awesome. Good conversation. So in 2012, I decided. Let me go back a little bit. I didn't tell you this. In 2003, I actually, very young into my training career, I was only 3 years removed from grad school. I thought I knew it all, as a lot of young people do. And I said, I just up and one day woke up and said, I'm going to quit the gym. I'm going to go off on my own. Probably the worst decision I've ever made in my life. That lasted for about 4 months, 4 or 5 months. I had absolutely no plan. Couldn't tell you anything about a business. Couldn't tell you anything about margins or anything, how to market, any of that stuff. I just thought, hey, I know what I'm doing. I'll get clients somehow, some way.
Now, you didn't have any kids at this point, right?
Say again?
Is this before any of your kids were born?
Yeah, I was a single guy, so it's easy to just wake up one day and do that.
Okay. Yeah,
but it's
exactly.
just I can survive off of peanut butter jelly sandwiches and stuff like that. So, but that failed miserably. So I went back to the gym, and that's when I ended up putting, from 2004 to the end of 2013 is when I put in almost like those 10 years of working in the gym full time.
Okay.
So in 2012, I said, you know what? I still kind of have this entrepreneurial itch or spirit. Let me do this the right way. So what I did was I started looking for marketing business programs that are out there that cater specifically to fitness professionals. And I found this company called NPE, which stands for Net Profit Explosion. They are a business coaching program that helps fitness professionals run their business just like any other business would run. So they taught me about margins. They taught me about marketing. I say they taught me. They're still teaching me because I still work with them. They teach me how to scale my business. They teach me about my dream lifestyle because, that's the most important thing. There has to be a reason why you're working besides, just paying the bills. That kind of gets boring after a while. You want to set yourself up to where you can, you can walk away from the business or at least cut down and not be in the business on an everyday basis in terms of working with clients and things of that nature. So,
sure.
did a lot of research on that for a couple months, and had my wife sit down with me and watch some of the DVDs that they sent me. I interviewed or called a couple of the people that were already doing the program, and that was about 3 or 4 months, and I decided to, make that investment, and it's the best investment I was able to make. So from 2012 through 2013, for about a year, I worked that program, but while still working at the gym full time. And then I decided, you know what? I know enough now. I'm going to go ahead and go off on my own.
How did you know when you knew enough?
One was our third child. 2 was being involved in the program for a year, being around other people that had kind of been where I was, and seeing where they were at that point in time, and then just having faith in God that, as a person who believes in God, just to have that faith in Him that He would provide for me at least my necessities, and I truly believe that. So so far it's working out. Definitely have my challenges. It's not easy at all, but there hasn't been a moment where I've thought, you know what, I want to go back. The only thing for me is I just want to work harder. I want to work harder, and I look forward to the challenges because I know, 2 or 3 years down the road, I can look back on those challenges and say, this is why I went through those challenges, because look at where I am today, and I can help other people too. I'm really looking forward to being able to help other trainers pursue their passion too.
Absolutely. So exciting. Maurice, what's one of the biggest lessons that you learned on this journey?
Attack your fears. Attack your fears. There's nothing wrong with being afraid. You just have to look at it as something that's part of the journey. Do your education. Make sure you make wise decisions. Don't make fast decisions. Think upon those things, but don't be afraid to mess up. I read a lot of different motivational books, and that's been recommended to me by NPE, and the main theme is entrepreneurs are, we're very motivated, but we can't be afraid to make those mistakes. So, and I have a support system that'll help pick me up when I do fall.
Excellent. Attack your fears. I think a lot of folks, their instinct is not to attack the fears, but to recoil and pull back from their fears. What would you tell somebody who's using the fear kind of in the wrong direction?
Well, I'll tell you this. Everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. So I wouldn't want to mislead anyone and say, you definitely have it in you. If you're afraid, you can definitely overcome it, because I think there's a reason why there are more people who are comfortable in an employee status. And there's ultimately, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you choose to do, if that's your route, that's your calling, so to speak, so be it. However, for those of us that are entrepreneurs, failing is just part of being an entrepreneur. I mean, pretty much every successful person that I've read or heard about has failed at one point in time in their career, even to the point of some of them have gone bankrupt. Mm-hmm. But they use that as motivation to get back on their feet and learn from those mistakes. So, I would tell someone who's afraid of that, I would say, hey, you've made mistakes all your life, and you're going to continue to make mistakes. No one's perfect. So just try to make of an educated mistake as possible.
Absolutely. Pick yourself up and learn from it. Speaking of mistakes, have you made any mistakes?
For sure.
Tell us about one that our listeners could learn from.
Let's see. Trying to think of one that has happened to me recently. Well, I guess sure. I'll share this one. This one's probably a little personal. So, just recently, I decided to I decided to open up my own personal training studio. So in the past, when I went off on my own, I was just training in people's homes and using community centers and things of that nature. But I decided as a progression, and as kind of the natural way to go, is to open up a personal training studio. So I'm in the thick of that right now. But there are a couple of mistakes that I've made in terms of not fully understanding certain legal ramifications and legal terms, and that's just a matter of just doing your due diligence as much as possible. So that's one mistake that I would say I've just recently made, that as a result of that, it's going to cost me probably a little bit more money than I had anticipated. And that's part of the process. I'm owning up to that, and I'm willing to accept that responsibility of doing that, and knowing for sure when I do this process again, when I get a bigger facility, I'll know exactly what to do. So that's one that's very recent.
I think that's one of the hallmarks of successful people. And I just did an interview before this. We had this exact same conversation. It's interesting how it comes up over and over and over again. Now, the way that you talked about that was you used the word I. You said, I didn't know. I made this mistake. I should have done it that way. I should have known more about this, rather than the alternative, which is to say that, somebody else tried to pull the wool over my eyes, or somebody else was trying to trick me. You always, somebody else didn't explain this to me, right? And I think it's that is the single biggest thing in interviewing almost 200 successful entrepreneurs on this show now. The single biggest thing that makes a difference between successful entrepreneurs and everyone else is the constant ability and the constant, almost obsession with taking full responsibility for your own results.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. That's one of our NPE, Net Profit Explosion, my business coach. That's one of our principles, is you have to take personal responsibility. At the end of the day, either it's one of those things where you should have known. As an entrepreneur, you're supposed to take it upon yourself to know any and everything about whatever you're doing. And if you don't, it's going to fall back on you anyway. So it's your responsibility to go out and correct it. And that's what I'm going through right now. Otherwise, the alternative is I blame other people, which is going to make it more difficult. Or I try to pull out of it, which is quitting. So I don't want to do that.
Absolutely. Maurice, what does success mean to you?
Success to me, in 5 years, this is the overarching success of Move Well Fitness. In 5 years, I don't have to go into the address where the facility is 4700 Bethesda Avenue. I don't have to walk into that facility unless I want to. Everything is running well. I have a manager who knows what they're doing. I have a couple of successful trainers who enjoy coming to work, who are getting great results with their clients. My clients are happy. We're still the buzz of Bethesda. That is success from an overall Move Well Fitness standpoint. Personally, success is I love teaching. And as I move away from the everyday personal training clients and every day of running the business, my passion is more toward teaching. So I've started another business where I teach people that are interested in becoming personal trainers. I teach them how to become personal trainers.
Cool.
That is where I see a big part of my success, because that's an avenue where I can give back. I'm at the point now in my career, I don't know everything, but I think I know enough to help people to be really successful and really great trainers that can help people get great results.
Awesome. What's next for you in Move Well Fitness?
What's next is really getting into my studio and making it rock and roll. I mean, really being the I call it the takeover. We want to take over Bethesda. We want to help 10,000 people live better, feel better, move better. Move Well, that's hence the name of the business, which is a play on my initials, MW. So
cool.
that's what it's about.
Awesome. Helping lots and lots of people to move well, live healthier. Very exciting, very inspiring story. Maurice, what's the last thought that you want to leave our listeners with?
Don't be afraid. If you have any inkling to be an entrepreneur, I would, take some time, do what I did. Take some time, write down your goals, write down why you want to, pursue owning your own business. And then for whatever particular field you're in, whether it's fitness or, whatever thing you want to pursue to be your own boss, and get help. Get help from the start. There's no need to get out there like I did back in 2003 and make those mistakes. It's not necessary. There's a better way to do it, and there are plenty of business coaches out there. It's worth the investment. It is a business debt that you want to kind of be in, because it's going to help you prevent you from making a lot of mistakes, and it'll help you in the long run. So that's my final word.
Amazing. Maurice, thanks so much for coming on the How to Quit Working show and sharing your hard-earned advice. Where can we get more information about you and Move Well Fitness?
Sure. Well, you can find me on the web, www.movewellfit.com. You can find us on Facebook as well. So facebook.com/ was that forward or backslash? I always get those confused. Whatever it is, Move Well Fitness. And then you can reach us at 240-200-4003 or Maurice at movewellfit.com.
If you missed that, it'll all be below the show at howtoquitworking.com, all linked up, and all the information will be there. Maurice, thanks so much for coming on the How to Quit Working show. I wish you the best of luck, and I can't wait to see what you and Move Well Fitness do in the future.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thanks again for having me. So much fun.
Maurice was such an inspiration. A lot of folks want to use having children as an excuse not to start a business. They say, I need the security of my job. I need to have the stability of having a full-time job and a paycheck every 2 weeks because I have children. Well, I think there's another way to look at it. We could get into the whole entrepreneurship versus job security myth, right? Because I don't really believe that having a job is actually secure. I believe that having a business is what is secure. But Maurice didn't look at it that way. He looked at the kids as his motivation to do something better. And I think that we underestimate this whole idea of, our parents are the most influential people in our lives. When you are a parent, it's extremely important to set an example of what you want your kids to do, right? I mean, do you want your kids to work for somebody else for their entire life, doing something that they don't really care about for their entire life, and then hoping that somehow things will financially work out in retirement? It just doesn't make any sense. So I think this was a hugely inspirational interview with a really, really inspiring entrepreneur. Go over and check out Maurice's website at movewellfit.com. It's all linked up below the show. And if you're really ready to create an amazing life for yourself, talk about somebody who has built a business around her devotion to her family. That is Heather Osgood, our How to Quit Working coach. And she can help you do the same thing. She can walk you right through the process of starting a business. And, one of the things that we do in coaching that I have been adamant about since we began How to Quit Working is we don't build a business without first understanding what it is that you want out of life. And if that's time with your kids, if that is time to spend working on church activities, whatever that, if it's just laying on a beach, whatever that thing is that is important to you, that's what we start with. And that's the process that Heather takes you through in the How to Quit Working system when you do coaching with her. So go to howtoquitworking.com/coaching and get more information about that. And I will talk to you next time on the How to Quit Working show, where we're going to talk to another amazing entrepreneur.
Thanks for joining us on the How to Quit Working show. Tune in next time when we'll talk to another amazing person just like you who is now living the ultimate life of freedom and doing it on their terms. If you want to learn how to quit working and get these episodes delivered directly to you, visit howtoquitworkingshow.com.